The Vulp is a balisong that's been out for a while now. And there is something that people to this day don't understand about it. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Blade Bias. Today we talk about the Vulp, and by extension, a lot of Nabalis' lineup, because I've noticed something happening over the course of the last year or so, where people will complain that their balisong is broken because the Zen Pin fell out. And as annoying as that is, and honestly as much as that probably shouldn't happen, I've wanted to make a PSA to tell you that your balisong is not broken. Nabalis does not press fit their Zen pins. What does that mean? Generally, there's a few ways to fix a Zen pin in place. You can have a sandwich design like the Orion, where the Zen pin is literally just floating, but it's compressed by the compression of the two handles when you screw them together. Or you can have no pins. Or you can do what most companies do and press fit your Zen pins. That's basically when you push a pin into a hole that is slightly smaller than it, and the friction of that process expands the hole out, and then the compression of the metal trying to push back into its original place essentially holds the pin in. Probably a gross oversimplification. There's probably going to be some people who are mad at me for explaining it like that. But that's generally the rule. You push a pin into a smaller hole than it, and it holds it in. This is a good thing because it makes it much harder to push out those pins. You know, if you're a modder, you might not think that that's a good thing, but modders generally have the ability to press and unpress those pins. But the problem comes when it falls out. How do you get it back in? Because you kind of need a machine to do that properly. At least I think you do. What Nabalis does, and I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do. In fact, I really think they probably should change this to eliminate a lot of the complaints and return requests that they no doubt get because of this. Nabalis glues them in. And that means that they fall out a lot. It's probably the number one complaint I've seen on Nabalis products. Even I've seen someone have it happen on the Impulse. The Impulse I've had for 2 days, I have seen a screenshot of someone who posted about their Zen pin falling out. The thing with this is that it's easier to come out, but it's also easier to put back in. If you just put Loctite or glue or something like that around the pin and push it back into the little hole that it goes into, being very careful that you don't get any glue in the actual pivots themselves, it should go right back in, provided that you don't lose it if you drop it in the grass or something like that. So try and keep a hold of your Nabalis Zen pins if they fall out, because you can use the Loctite that comes in the box to glue it back in. And I don't think enough people know that, because I see all the time people will tell me, oh, my Vulp is broken, the Zen pin fell out, and I have to tell them, hey, it's not broken. As sucky as it is, it's kind of intentional, and you can fix it fairly easily. That's the PSA. That's it. For the rest of this video, we're going to still talk about the Vulp, because holy cow, the Vulp is getting destroyed by everything else in the price range nowadays. It is crazy to me that we can look back at the Vulp, and this kind of is an extension of last video. It's crazy we can look back at the Vulp, something that quite literally changed the game in the balisong hobby, and say, yeah, it kind of isn't that great anymore. It's a balisong that was designed with beginners in mind, you know, bigger circles to perform chaplains, things like that, but ultimately became a balisong that I criticize pretty heavily for not growing with you. If I pick up an Impulse, it generally does everything that I want it to do, and as I get better at flipping, this will still provide a good flipping experience. It may be a little bit harder for me to learn tricks on it, but it will grow with me as I learn new tricks, and the Vulp kind of doesn't do that great. I don't want to say it doesn't do it, because people still flip the Vulp when they're incredibly good flippers, and it still works for what they need it for. It still works for me as well. I don't think the Vulp is bad by any means. But I just think it's so crazy how mogged, I can't believe I just said that, it gets by all of the other Nabalis products even. Nabalis does just keep undercutting themselves to the point of like almost comical. It's almost comical how much they undercut themselves, and like, oh, here's the Impulse, which kind of makes the Canyon obsolete, but then the Canyon made the Morse obsolete, but then like the Morse didn't really have a predecessor, so I kind of put myself in a dead end with this analogy, but still, it's crazy. And I just wanted to comment on that. What do I think of the Vulp in 2025? I think if you get it, you have a very well-designed balisong. I really like the look of the Vulp. The flipping is really good for the price still. I can't deny that. But I also can't deny that you do get a little bit better value from other things in the price range that will grow with you a little bit more as you get into the hobby, which is generally why I don't recommend the Vulp to beginners anymore, or at least, at the very least, recommend something like the Teflon Vulp, because it fixes a few of those issues enough to make it worth it again. But I just think that's crazy. So that's my PSA. Hopefully you all are enjoying your week. I don't even know when I'm uploading this. Blade Show might even be over. I have no idea. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Later.